back in the lab, back in the building. Coach put us back in the game. We already, and we got a question, man. Why do black women love hood men? Man, let's lock in. This question is the same question as why do girls want the bad boy? Why do women want the bad guy? It's just that for black women, that bad guy is Tyrone, is Pookie, is that hood man. Disclaimer, you don't have to be hood to get black women. You don't have to be from the hood. You can be from the suburbs. But there is one thing you do need to have, and that is masculinity. That's the main trait. The main trait between hood men and other men or suburban men is that hood men are more masculine. If we look at the characteristics attached to a hood man, we get aggressive, rough, rigid, masculine, emotionally unavailable. What else do we have? We have fast money, spontaneous, rough sex. All of these characteristics are attached to this one stereotype. What else? A lot of women are nurturers. They want to tame something that's wild. Hood men are equated to being wild. They're in the streets, getting into fights, getting into beef, having ops, always on the lookout, in a gang, right? Or selling drugs, or having to live by a code of conduct that they're very stern on. These traits you need to adopt. I'm not saying turn into that hood guy, but the being aggressive, being assertive, being dominant, being rough, being rigid, living by a code of conduct, being spontaneous, not being boring to be around. These things are important. Now that we've broken down what the stereotype of a hood man is, in reality, all of the things I named is just a man who was hyper masculine, who was overly abundant of testosterone, overly masculine. That's what they crave. They just crave the masculine feel. You don't need to be in a gang. You don't need to sell drugs. You can have that 9 to 5. But when you're with her, you have to make her feel safe. She has to know she can trust you to protect, to defend. You can't be passive. A lot of men are passive. A lot of men are emotional now. Especially my generation. We're emotional. We have a lack of others. That's true. But with that being said, that is the reason why women crave hood men. Because the average hood man, even though it's not true, the average hood stereotype is that man that they desire. The perfect man when it comes to how a man should be. And honestly, this wouldn't even be a big of a deal if men were men. A lot of us didn't grow up with fathers. A lot of us didn't grow up with father figures, nor were a majority of us taught how to be a man. Middle school, high school, I didn't know anything about how a man should act or move, or I didn't know about principles and values. I just lived my life how I wanted to live my life. And it wasn't until I was told, oh, you're soft, you're not man enough, by a female I liked it, that made me want to change, because that had me looking up how to be a man, how to be masculine, how to be an alpha male, until I started adopting the traits and being the person, being the man I always wanted to be, being the man that I desired to be. And when I look at our society, when I look at the average men of our society, I don't see a man. I don't see the man that I want to be. I don't want to be like the average man. The average man is addicted to porn, beating their meat, buying OnlyFans. I'm seeing it. A lot of men lack self-respect, self-worth, self-esteem. They're addicted to lust. They're weak. No principles, no values, no backbone. My God, the average teenager now, I pray. But literally though, when you don't have someone in your ear telling you, nah, that's not how you, you're gonna like that. So of course, people who have responsibilities at a younger age, who grow up faster at a younger age, whether it's mentally or physically, those men are gonna have an advantage when it comes to regular boys or regular men. because they're going to be a lot, like I said, they're going to be a lot more dominant, more aggressive, more assertive, a lot more rough with the world, because they was born in a rough society. While the suburbs, or the typical average American neighborhood, nothing really too much to go on. I mean, when I was in the suburbs, ain't nothing go on. A couple fights here and there, but that's it. If you're not playing sports, you're not gonna be pushed to be some masculine male. You're not, unless you just really just your own person and you standing for something. Be honest, this is not rocket science. It's not. Leadership, protection, providing, financially stable, knowing how to defend you and your family if need be, and being a man who stands on principles, who knows his value, who knows his self-worth, who has self-respect, who's able to take someone who views himself as worthless and make them somebody of worth, someone who is stern, who lives by a code of conduct, whether if it's from the Bible, the art of war, the 48 laws of power, someone who has a backbone, a real man who goes after what he wants, who is dominant, who is assertive, who takes initiative, who is a leader. A leader, if not of other men, at least his family, and at least his woman, and at least a leader of his own self. That's the bare minimum. At least be a leader to you, doing what you need to do and what you want to do, instead of just taking orders from society and, of course, the world. But with that being said, like I said, it's not rocket science. I don't need to drag this video out. My name is Pariah the Professor. Join my tribe, subscribe. Y'all have a great day, y'all have a great night, and